Here's the structure of today's workshop. We'll start with an intro to what Talk With Me is, then we'll go on to a demo of the app and its features. And after that, you can try the app on your own on your device, and we'll show you how to do that. This will be followed by a Q&A session where you can ask us any questions or comments you have. Once you get all this information about Talk With Me, we'll share with you more information about these 6 weeks cohorts that we run with parents, where we intensively support them in their journey of using Talk With Me with their child. And that's when you can, that's where you have the opportunity to sign up for the cohort right now. In the end, we'll wrap up. So let's start with the idea behind. Let's just step back a little bit and start with the idea behind Talk With Me. You will all agree that we may not always know all the abilities that a child has. Any child, all children have more abilities than we are able to see or comprehend. So that's why it is good to leave a benefit of doubt about what they're able to do and learn. So, because they have more abilities than we can see, naturally they can learn more than we can think. So, that's why it's good to leave that benefit of doubt. At Talk With Me, we leave that benefit of doubt because we give children with all abilities an opportunity to interact with other people socially and engage with others, build relationships, and connect with other people. Talk With Me gets children with autism and other special needs as well interested in and comfortable with having reciprocal conversations with other people. So, back and forth conversation, not need based, back and forth social and engaging conversations. We conducted trials of Talk With Me and we got outstanding results in our trials. For example, one trial, significant trial result was over 20 minutes of engaged conversation with skill transfer to everyday life. And this happened with children who never engaged in a social conversation before. Many of them were nonverbal. And this was previously an unseen result in therapy that was achieved within 6 weeks of our app use and is replicated frequently. A parent told us that two girls developed an enduring friendship. A dad said to us that my daughter said for the first time after using the app regularly, "Dad, I want to play with you. Let's go out and play." So let's try and understand what Talk With Me really does. So many of you would be comfortable, would be familiar with the idea of using pictures. You know, if your child is, especially if your child is doesn't have verbal ability or has limited verbal ability, you may be using pictures to communicate with them. So just imagine laying out the conversation in a picture format like this on the left hand side. So let's say you have a sentence that says, "We have a guest staying the night tomorrow." So each word here or each chunk, meaningful chunk of the conversation is represented by a picture. And then you have a sentence and then you have a response. Who is staying? You know, your aunt is staying. And then how long is she staying? So basically, that's what Talk With Me is. So if you just imagine if you had lots and lots of pictures that could communicate everyday thoughts and you arrange them into a conversation. So that's what Talk With Me does really. So it's Talk With Me's picture cards arranged into interactive conversation scripts. And Talk With Me comes with a variety of such conversation scripts from many different topics. And very one very significant feature of Talk With Me is that it's fully customizable. So, for example, you see this layout of a conversation here. If you don't like here in the third one, it says your auntie. If you don't like, you can actually take the actual image of the aunt who's staying and replace it. Or if you're talking about football, then you can take the photo of your child's actual football and use that. Or if you're talking about something specific that we don't have an image for, or if you would prefer a better image, you can just download from Google and use that. You can add sentences, delete sentences, whatever. You can actually create your own conversations from scratch as well, which is the most powerful feature of our app. So, Talk With Me allows children to dive straight into conversations driven by their own motivation and interests. It does not matter what kind of social skills they currently have. So, the basic social skills that are generally in popular therapy, people normally assume or expect these skills to build these skills as a prerequisite first. and then they go on to social conversations. But in Talk With Me, these basic social skills like turn taking, joint attention, basic communication, verbal ability, these are not a prerequisite. So even if your child has none of these, with Talk With Me, you can just dive straight into a conversation. And what we have noticed in our trials, repeatedly and consistently, is that these basic social skills develop as a consequence with continued app use, and of course with other therapy that is going on in parallel. So, Talk With Me provides a child to have conversations no matter how imperfect the child's skills are. For example, let's talk about learning, the example of learning a sport. So when a child is learning a new sport like basketball, the coach teaches skills like dribbling, passing, and catching separately. Like kids would be dribbling separately, learning how to dribble and how to catch and how to pass. But at the end of the day, they also play a game. They also play the game of basketball, with two teams. And it doesn't matter how imperfect or messy the game is, they still play it. And that's where the actual magic happens. That's where they learn how to combine these skills. So you catch from here, and then you dribble there, and then you pass to the other guy. And along with that, you learn many other implicit skills like time management, punctuality, team spirit, learning to accept failure, being humble when you win in victory, and other things like that. So these are the skills that were never intended to be taught explicitly, but you end up learning all this. So whenever you see a good sport team, you assume that they would have all these qualities, even though they were never taught explicitly. So Talk With Me is just like that. It's just like that game at the end of the day, where all these skills you're learning in other therapy, they come together. So that's why Talk With Me complements other therapy very well. So Talk With Me is play, and learning takes place implicitly and holistically. That's how it does in any kind of play. So that's why we say that it doesn't matter what the child, how imperfect the child's skills are. It doesn't matter how well you dribble or pass or catch. You still play that game, and you learn dribbling as a consequence of playing that game, and also, of course, as a consequence of learning it separately that you do in other therapy. So with that in place, let me share the screen from this other device, and I'll show you how to use the actual app. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm going to share from here. Screen start. So you go to the Play Store, you type Talk With Me, and you download the app on your device. This is what the app icon looks like here. This blue icon with the two kids. Talk With Me. You tap on that, and this is the first screen you see when you open. So this is the talk area of the app. Talk With Me has two interfaces. One is for the child, and one is for you as a parent or an educator. So the moment you open the app, you see the child's interface. We'll come back to that later. The educator or the parent's interface is where you set up the app for the child. So we'll start there. So the first thing you would do is you go to the downloads area. Okay, you open the menu on top right here. Right now it's unlocked, but you'll have to put in a password there. The same password that you set up for your app. It's locked because we don't want the child to access it. So you just tap on it, put in your password, and go to the download area. This is the download area. You see on top left, we have 203 conversations on this app currently. And you can browse them either by searching for something you want, or you look at the left hand side here. There's these levels. We have 4 levels: newbie, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And then we have all these topics here. So let me show you around a little bit. And these are all the conversations that we have. So this is a filter on the left hand side that you see. So let's say you would usually start from the newbie level. So let's say you have newbie. So in the newbie level, we have all these conversations here. And let me show you one conversation. Let's say you look at this favorite foods conversation here. So you tap on favorite foods, and this shows you a little bit about what this conversation is. On the left hand side, it shows you the script. This will all be represented by images when you go to the children's interface or the talk area. I'll show you that. But this is just for you. The child never sees this page. This is just for you as a parent or an educator. So, what is your favorite food? Cereal, pizza, burger, bread. Did you eat that today? Yes, no. What did you eat? Like that. So that's what the conversation is basically talking about here. You see this big green download button here. So if you like this conversation, if you think it's suitable for your child, just download it. When you download it, it will be available under the topic food and drinks here. So I'm going to close that. I'll show you around the downloads area a little bit more. So here's all these topics. We have lots and lots of interesting topics. What is important is that when you start using Talk With Me, it should be driven by your child's interest and motivations. So the first thing we want to do with your child is to get them to like the app. Once they like the app, then you can have any kind of conversation you want on it with them. But so to get them to like the app, we have to talk to them about things they like, right? So just think about your child's interest. Maybe your child likes animals or vehicles, or transport, TV and movies, sports, nature, general likes and dislikes, and all. So depending upon your child's interest, you can identify some conversations that they like. So I'll show you some popular categories. Celebration is a popular category. So here we have so many conversations about celebrations. We have birthday celebrations, so general conversations about birthday celebrations. Diwali, so we just had Diwali. And general festival, like, what is a festival, you see on the bottom right here. What is a festival? Can you name some festivals? Do you like festivals and all? And um, for Diwali, we have what is Diwali? What do we do on Diwali? What else do we do? Who else will be there? And blah blah blah, like that. Christmas. So Christmas is coming, New Year is coming. So we have conversations about these topics. So celebrations is a popular topic. Emotions and all will be popular with you as a parent, that you can come to once your child gets interested in the app. So we have conversations like sadness. What is that emotion? So it's an advanced level conversation. How do people look and act when they're sad? How do people feel when they're sad? And blah blah. Anxiety, what are emotions? So the basic beginner level conversation. What are emotions? What emotions are positive? What are negative? And so on. But this is not what we look at. I was just wanted to give you a feel for other sort of stuff we have. So another category that is likely to interest your child and you as well is family. So visiting relatives. Do you like to visit your relatives? Who do you like to visit, and so on? Spending time with a family member. What do you do with dad? What do you do with mom? What do you do with your sister or your brother? How to schedule an effective family time? What should we do on the weekends and such. Food and drinks is always a popular topic. So if you go to food and drinks, food do you like and dislike? Fruits. What fruit do you like? Where do we get fruit from? A little bit of information there. What are the different types of fruits? What fruit do you want to eat? And so on. Um, and then we have another interesting one is likes and dislikes. Favorites is a good conversation. So this just talks about the things that your kid likes. So what are your favorite colors? What are your favorite foods? What are your favorite animals, activities, and so on. And then we have outdoors. So going to the beach, if you live by the beach, going to the park. What do you like to do at the park? Do you like to go to the park? If you don't, why don't you like it? And if you do, then what do you like to do? What swings do you like, and all. Play is also another category. So what is play? Like it's a very simple one. Let's talk about play. What do you want to play? With whom do you want to play? Um, and what do you want to play? So this is another conversation. Like, shall we play blocks, or shall we play pretend play, role, whatever, you can choose. And then you have transport is a we have pretty detailed conversation about transport. So there's one general one that is vehicles. There you go. So it's a newbie conversation. Let's talk about vehicles. Do you like vehicles? Yes or no? If you do, then what type of vehicles do you like? And then once you find out, or if you already know what vehicles your kid likes, Then you can just, let's say your kid likes buses, so you can go to a conversation about bus. Like, it's a little bit more information loaded conversation. Where can you go on a bus? What parts does a bus have? What color can a bus be? What is your favorite thing about buses? Have you been on a bus? Blah blah blah, and so on. So this is our downloads area. So I'm sure by now you have had some thoughts on what kind of conversations your kid might enjoy. So we highly encourage you to spend some time thinking about their interests and identify some conversations and download them. Okay. So once you download them, let's go to the talk area. So you open the menu, go to the talk area, and I'll show you how to play that conversation with your kid. So I downloaded one called favorite foods, that is under food and drinks category. So this first page is are the topics or categories or folders. There. So these are like folders. Food and drinks is a category, so you tap on that,
Food and drinks.
and within food and drinks, I have on my device, I've downloaded these 7 conversations, but they might be a little bit different from for you depending upon which conversation you downloaded. So I'll tap on favorite foods.
Favorite foods.
Okay, I realize I have chosen a strange text and speech. I'm going to change that. So we have different voice settings for talk with me. I'm going to change that to something else.
This is
Let's
an
see.
example of how Talk with Me will synthesize speech.
This is an example of how Talk with Me will synthesize speech.
Yeah, so you can choose which
This is an
voice.
example of how Talk with Me will synthesize speech.
Okay. So these are the different. So we have all these voices here that you can choose. I'm just going to keep this one as an example. So, okay. So back to the conversation I was talking about. You go to talk area, you go to food and drinks,
Food
and
and
this was my.
drinks. Favorite foods.
So this is my conversation. So you see this blue bar. So this is the core of talk with me. This is where the magic happens. So you see this blue bar. The blue bar indicates whose turn it is. So importantly, what we have to do here is you need to sit side by side with your child, or whoever is using the app with your kid, or your kid is using the app with. You physically sit next to your child, and the bar indicates whose turn it is. So if you are sitting on the left hand side, it's your turn, and if your kid is sitting on the right hand side and the bar is on the right, then it's your kid's turn. Actually, I should show you the setting a little bit. So I'm just going to pause for a second and pull out that video. Okay, so this is how you're supposed to sit. So you see how Amy, she's our speech and language therapist. She's sitting on one side, and the kid is sitting on another side. You could sit next to each other, so that and you share the tablet in between the two of you, and that's how you take turns. So you definitely have to sit side by side and give the child enough space there for themselves, and to turn and look at you if they want to. Okay. Okay, so now you understand how you're supposed to sit with the child. And so this we're back to the conversation here. So the bar is on the left hand side, which means it's the left player's turn. And the sentence you see here, what is your favorite food, is the left player's sentence. And all you have to do is to tap on the cards or drag them down, whichever. You can change the gesture in the second settings if you prefer tap. I have drag here because I prefer drag. Um, So when you're ready, you start dragging the cards
What
down.
is your favorite food?
And when you're happy with the sentence you created, you pass the turn to the other person by dragging it across the screen.
What is your favorite food?
Okay. And then it's the right player's turn to answer. So I'm going to answer that. I'll say pizza.
Pizza.
And then I'm going to drag it back to the first person. So importantly,
Pizza.
so you first do your sentence and then you give the turn to the other. So this drag gesture is important because we want to simulate this subtly simulate this act of giving something to the other. So it's the turn, because turn taking is difficult for many children to understand. So we teach that subtly by this design, so that once you create your sentence, once you have said what you need to do to say, then you give the turn to the other person. So I'm gonna back to the left player.
Did you eat that today? Did you eat that today?
I'm gonna say no.
No. No. What did you eat? What did you eat?
I'm gonna say,
Rajma chawal.
yeah, that doesn't sound very good on a British accent.
Rajma chawal.
Okay, that's a celebration screen at the end. So that is the end of the conversation. So that's how you have conversations on Talk With Me. You download something your kid likes, and then you open them in the talk area, and then you sit next to them physically, and you have these kind of conversations back and forth by passing turn to each other. So now next thing I'm going to show you is how to edit this conversation. How you can customize it. So to customize, you open the menu again and you go to the edit area. Go to the same folder of where the conversation that you want to edit is. So I'll go to food and drinks, and this again is the same conversations now in the edit area. So I'm going to edit this conversation called favorite foods. Um, Here you go, and so because this is a company conversation, so you have to rename it because you can't change company conversation. So you have to make your own copy of it. So I'm just gonna call it fab food. You can call it anything. You can change image if you want. So I'm just gonna say done. So this is what the conversation looks like in the edit area. um, this is where the actual power of Talk With Me is, where you can edit and create all the everything that is provided to you. On the left hand side here, this is the skeletal structure of the conversation. This shows you how many sentences there are, what's the first sentence, what's the next. So right now the green dot at the top is highlighted. Corresponding sentence to that is, what is your favorite food, which is in a green box. And the next sentence is cereal, pizza, burger, bread. And then it was, did you eat that today? And then there was a choice, yes and no. So had I said yes, it would have said cool and then over. But I said no, because I said no, it asked me, okay, then what did you eat today? And then I said, oh, rajma chawal. So this is what the skeletal structure of the conversation is. On the left hand side, right hand side is the corresponding sentences. Now let's look at the images. So to see the images for each of these conversations, tap on this pencil icon on the right hand side of the green box. This little pencil icon here. I'm going to tap that. So these are the images. What is your favorite food? Okay. So these are the images for all the sentences that we have. I'm going to change this image here. It doesn't look very appetizing. So to change that image, you just tap on change photo. And you so there's two way to change to look for images. One is search and upload. Search is where you're searching for an image within our app. Okay. So for example, so we ship the app with the tens of thousands of images. So you can search for something. I'm just going to show you an example. So just search for rice. So these are all the images that we have that are labeled with rice. But I don't like any of these here. So I'm going to cross it. So I'm going to tap it again, change photo. I'm going to upload a photo here. Okay. So you have two options again, take photo or choose from library. If you press take photo, it will open the camera for you. So you can click a photo within the app. But I'm going to choose from library because I just downloaded a Rajma Chawal photo. There you go. Did I not tap on it? Yeah. Let's give it a moment. Yeah. So there you go. That looks better. So once I'm happy with it, you just say done. And yeah, so that's how you change. You can edit stuff. Like for example, back to this sentence here. So Rajma Chawla, this change the photo. Maybe I want to call roti something else. So I'm going to edit text here. So edit text, and I can say chapati, for example. Okay, so replace. So that's how you edit text and images. You can delete sentences bottom up. So for example, here, if I create, okay, I have the wrong keyboard here. Okay, so you see this little cross icon next to the word okay. So that's the last sentence. So you don't see it now. You don't see it now, but you see it here and you see it here. So the icon is available in the last sentence. So you can delete sentences bottom up. So I don't like it, I can just delete it. And I can delete this one as well. Okay. So yeah. So so once I'm happy with the conversation I've created, you see these buttons on the top right: test, save, and publish. So test allows you to simulate the talk area or the children's interface right within the edit area. So I can quickly see how the flow is working. So I'm going to say test here. I can
What
actually
is
play the
your
same conversation here.
favorite food? What is your favorite food? Pizza. Pizza. Did you eat that today? Did you eat that today? No. No. What did you eat? What did you eat?
So you see, now you get the image and the text that I edited. So that's how you edit stuff. And once you're happy, so then the next two buttons are save and publish. Once you're happy, just press save. So when you press save, just it's important to understand the difference between save and publish. Save saves the conversation in the edit area, and save saves the conversation in the edit area, and publish sends it to the talk area. So only after you press publish, it sends the conversation to the talk area and makes it available to the child. Okay. So I'm going to press yes. So once you press yes, then the conversation has been sent to the talk area. Now you can access it there. The reason we have two different ones is because sometimes you might want to, save it and come back to it later. So you have a unfinished conversation. You just save a draft and then come back later. So that was edit. And now I'm going to show you how to create a new conversation. Okay. So you see this, you go to the edit area, you see this new button here, the big blue button, tap on it. This allows you to create a new conversation from scratch. Um, I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. Yeah. So I'm going to create a drinks conversation. Okay. So I'm going to search for an image to represent my conversation. So I'm going to choose this green glass here. So this is the image. And then I'm going to choose a topic under which I want it. I want it under food and drink. So this is important here to look at which topic you're saving the conversation in, food and drinks, because that's where you'll find it. So remember this topic where you created it. That's why the topic should be meaningful. So I'm going to call it fab drinks. There you go. Okay. So this is what the screen to create a new conversation looks like. It's exactly the same as the edit area, but right now the conversation is empty. That's why you see an empty dot on the left hand side, because that's the first sentence and it's empty right now. So I'm going to start typing. Okay. So I'm going to say, what I have to change. Okay, hang on. Let me just change my language once and for all. There you go. What type of drinks do you like the most? Okay. So I'm going to press create. So it has created that sentence. I'm going to worry about the images a little bit later. So Talk With Me automatically finds the images for you. I'll show you the ones that it found for this one in a bit, but let me just get the text right first. I'm going to say I like. So once you ask the child what type of drinks do they like, you should give them some options to respond. So I'm going to say I like juice or smoothie. I'm going to give two options. Comma is important. Comma is there to indicate a choice, and I'll show you what happens if you indicate a choice. The moment you press create, Comma allows a app to identify these two words as a choice word. So it says, "Do you want to create branches for juice and smoothie?" Because now it knows these are choices. It's asking you, "Do you want to go create two threads and go in a different direction if the child said juice or if the child said smoothie?" So I'm going to say yes. For juice, so if the child said juice, I'm going to say, "What juice? Uh, what juice do you like? Create. Uh, I like orange, um, grape juice." Okay, so again, it found orange and grape as a choice. So it's asking me, do we want to create branches? Um, I'm going to say no this time. And then let's go back to the smoothie. So if the child said smoothie, so I'm going to say, "What smoothie do you like?" I like banana, strawberries smoothie. Okay, so it has again found these two as choices. Do you want to create branches? I'm going to say no here. So that's it. That's how you create conversations with Talk With Me. Let's look at the images it found. What type of drinks do you like? So, and then I like juice and smoothie. What juice do you like? So these are all fine. I don't really like this one. What type of, that's where, what type of drink? So this is actually an image for typing. That doesn't work. So that's where editing is very handy. So you just tap on this, you delete this card. This is not working. Um, so I can just edit this and say uh, type of drinks, for example. So what type of drinks? Do actually doesn't have any visual meaning. So I'm going to delete this and I'm just going to edit a text here and say, "Do you?" Okay. So what type of drinks do you like the, this is a weird image. I'm just going to delete it. Most, I'm going to edit this and say the most. What type of drinks do you like the most? Uh, so that's reasonably all right. I mean, you could change more images if you wanted. I like juice and smoothie. This is pretty good. What juice do you like? This is good. What smoothie do you like? Is good. I like banana strawberry is good. I like orange grape juice. This is good. So all these are good. I'm going to say done and I'm going to say save and I'm going to say publish. So I'm going to publish this to the talk area. Now let's just go to the talk area very quickly and find this it was under food and drinks, if you remember. We'll go
Food
to
and
food and
drinks.
drinks. Fab drinks. That's a wrong. That's not a nice name, but we have to
Fav drinks.
make sure you have a nicer name for the conversation.
What
What type of
type
drink?
of drinks do you like the most? What type of drinks do you like the most? I like juice. I like juice. What juice do you like? What juice do you like?
Okay, so that's how it. That's how you can play the conversation that you created on in the talk area. One more thing. So, remember how I told you that you have to sit physically next to the child when you're playing the conversation with them? So, that's the basic idea of Talk With Me because originally the premise of Talk With Me was to encourage in person interactions, social interactions. But then COVID happened, so we're not able to meet many people in person. So what you can do now is you can take these, so these conversations are now portable. So you can take these conversations and you can do whatever you want with them. So for example, not sorry, not whatever you want with them. You you take them. They're now portable. You can generate links to these conversations, and you can share them with other people, and you can play them over video conferencing like Zoom. You know, for example. So so or the other thing you could do is talk with me is recommended to be used on tablets like Android tablet or iPads. It is not recommended for mobile phones because the screen is too small. So what you could do if you're using a mobile phone, what you could do is you could generate links to the conversations and play them on a larger device like laptop or desktop with your child. So I'm going to create a link to this conversation and show you. So what you need to do is just whichever conversation you want to create a link for. I'm going to do this favorite drinks conversation. Just long press on it. So normally when you type, when you tap something, you just tap it like for a second, but keep your finger pressed on it for 3 seconds. Okay, so if you do that, you'll get this message. Just read it carefully and then press OK. And this is then you'll get your typical share window for share option for your mobile phone. You could share. I don't have WhatsApp on this iPad, so if you have WhatsApp, you could share it with other people on WhatsApp, or whatever. I'm gonna email. I'm gonna show you. Actually, we can see how to use this over Zoom right within this session. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna email this to myself and open it on my laptop. Okay, so right now I'm on my iPad. I'm just gonna, so this is the link to the conversation and I'm gonna send it. Send. Let me open it on my laptop and I'll show you how it looks. Okay, so this is the browser of my laptop. I opened my email and I just pressed on that link and this is what it looks like. So you can have this conversation.
What type of drinks do you like the most? What type of drinks do you like the most?
Okay, so it's exactly the same, but it's now running on my laptop via browser. So let's just see how to use this over Zoom. I'm Uma from our team, Uma and I, maybe. Actually, it could be any of you, but let me just try this with Uma right now. So, Uma. So, what you need to use it over Zoom, Zoom, for example, is a remote control feature. So, I can't show that to you right now because it's on the same Zoom. But if you go to your Zoom bar, there's a remote control option there. So if you press on it, it shows you the names of the people who are in the same Zoom meeting. So if you tap on their name, it gives them the remote control. So now you and that person, you can both control your screen. So when you both can control your screen, you both can type on stuff. So once it's my turn and then it's your turn and so on. Okay. So we'll show you how to do that.